rolling. Cue talent.
Hello, everybody. My name is Vondolyn Lane, and welcome to the Ask the Counselor Show. I have two guests today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. The first guest is
Andre Scott. I'm a minister at Bethesda World Harvest International Church in the city of Buffalo, New York, under Bishop Michael Badger.
I'm Sherman Washington, a deacon at Bethesda World Harvest International Church under Bishop Michael Badger as well.
okay. And so we're here today because we want to talk about mental health, and we want to talk about the ins and outs of mental health and how it actually fits into Christianity and religion and all of that, right, guys? So,
Yes.
why don't we first off start off by saying, so Andre, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
A little bit about myself? Okay. Just a little bit about myself. I've been in ministry for about 25, 26 years. I was adopted at an early age. I was sexually abused 4 times growing up, which brought about some mental health issues that I didn't understand. I thought it was just the norm because of how I respond to different things, but really found out that there was actually some mental health issues that was going on. So just growing up, I was a police officer for almost 20 years in the ministry, but yet still had some issues going on in my life, mental issues that was going on in my life. And that's just a little bit about me.
Yes, I'm Sherman Washington, and I also have a passion to see men restored. My own personal walk with Christ has been one where I was a product of a broken family, challenged family within the inner cities, and later on became a business person, and over 22 years of business, about 20 years of ministry, with a passion for men. I want to see men restored back to of course God, to the community, to their families, and so welcome an opportunity to really sit here on today at this program just to talk about mental health, because I think it affects everyone.
Absolutely. So when we talk about mental health, there's different ranges and different diagnoses that people have. Some depression, right? Some anxiety, and even seasonal anxiety. We get a lot of seasonal anxiety because we, in Buffalo, New York, and we get a lot of snow. And sometimes in our daylight, we don't get enough. So a lot of Western New Yorkers have a deficiency of vitamin D, right? So we have seasonal anxiety here over in these parts. But some of the other diagnoses are, very, very common in the community, which is like schizophrenia, right? Or multiple personality disorder, or things of that nature. And a lot of times people want to get help. And so they go to counseling, or they go to the church. The church has been a pillar in our community for forever, right? Anytime we need something, the church was always there to help us. So we're actually today we're trying to see how mental health and spirituality or the church kind of can intertwine, because we need both.
Yes,
We
do.
need to take care of both. I had a guest on here a few months ago, and we were talking about mind, soul, and body and
Yes.
spirit, right? So
Yeah.
3 components. We take care of the
Yes.
mind, we take care of the soul, which is what our spirituality, and we take care of our bodies. So why don't you guys let me know exactly what it is when we talk about spirituality and we talk about mental health, how that intertwines.
It intertwines in the fact that, as you had mentioned, that we're triune beings, body, soul, and spirit.
Body, soul.
Within the church, we understand that you get Bible degree, you can understand that. But the focus is pretty much on the spiritual part of us. We do dabble into the natural or the physical body by feeding people and helping people that way, but it's been almost like taboo in Christendom about the mental part of it. And that's a part that has been, I see, missing for a long time. It's been about 6 years that I've been interested in dealing with the mental part of it, because I've seen so many people in counseling that, we can pray for them and God will do a work in their life, but yet they have still struggle in a particular area. And so wanted to find more about what that was all about. And that's why I got involved with you. In your classes, coming to your classes, that has been so beneficial to me and so mind-opening, because I was trying to keep them apart, the spiritual apart from the mental. God can do this. Yes, He can, and yes, He will. Right. But everybody's not there. Right. So what do you do when you're not there? Well, you try to help the person in this area. Right. And so I'm trying to bridge that gap, and I want to see more pastors and more leaders embrace this, because it is necessary. We want people to be made whole. That becomes wholeness.
Absolutely. And that we were talking about Dr. Leland Jones' book. That's the name of his book.
Yes.
Becoming Whole, right?
Yes.
Becoming whole. Yeah. Becoming whole.
Becoming Whole. Hi,
Yeah.
Dr. Jones. But we want to definitely talk about the mental health and the spiritual side and the mental health side, and how they can interconnect and interact with each other. And being a Christian business, my business is mental health and Christian counseling. So I am trying to bridge both of them together. Some people want just the mental health counseling. Some people want just the Christian counseling. And I always ask, can we kind of intertwine them both? And even when I started my business, my motto is there go that brain fog. 1 Timothy 1:4. For God has not given us the power of
Spirit of fear,
but of power of love, and sound mind.
Discipline.
Right. So that is my business model. Excuse me, guys, for forgetting and stumbling over my words. However, that is the business model for my business. And because I know, being a clinician for over 20 years and being a Christian for almost all of my life, how it intertwines with each other. So, that's why I said, okay, this is it. We need to bridge the gap here.
Yes.
So why the mission to do this work?
Well, I think that in today's society we live in we live in a challenging time. A lot of because the ministry of Bethesda is on Main Street. It's an urban Christian ministry. I noticed so many of particularly our young black men, but also women, children walking down the street talking to themselves. And it really bothered me personally, and I go out and I engage in talking with them, but I realized I was at a deficit, and when I was invited to come out to one of your classes to deal with trauma, I realized I was missing, there's a piece missing to reaching these people, treating these people, understanding. For me, it was about understanding them. That class helped me to understand how to handle a traumatic situation. Because a lot of times the mental illness that I see on the streets of Main Street, it's traumatic. I've dealt with people that needed Narcan. Is it Narcan?
Mm-hmm.
I've dealt with people who were aggressive. Suicidal. We've handled all of that, and by the grace of God, we made it through it, but it was a lot of hard times because we didn't understand everything.
Right.
So I think it's important that the two communities come together.
Absolutely.
I think with that, because really, if you think about it, in the Bible, you can find a lot of parallel to science in the Bible, to things that are clinical. I worked with Dr. Jones for a while, for I think 4 years, helped facilitate a class that kind of dealt with more of a holistic approach. I think
Right.
that was my first eye opener to it. But then when I came to the trauma class, I realized I could be approaching things from one perspective and miss the whole picture with that person, to get that person help,
Right.
to follow the procedures that are already in place.
Right. So we are going to, they just queued me 5 minutes, so we're going to take a break for a few minutes, and we'll be right back to the Ask the Counselor show with Andre, Scott, and Sherman. Thank you. Hi, I'm Vondolyn Lane, and welcome back to Ask the Counselor Show. I am here with my guest, Sherman Washington and Andre Scott, and we were just talking about how mental health and the church intertwines and how we need to bridge the gap to connect the two. If a person comes to get help, what is one of the first things that we can see as Christians or as people, in the church community?
Well, the first thing we see is the individual, and many times it's you can see the physical need. You can see the physical need, and of course, coming to the church, pretty much they're looking for a spiritual need. But for history purposes, we haven't been paying much attention to the emotional need. We've been very strong on the spiritual need and very strong on helping them, feeding them, getting them a place to live, and those are all good. They're necessary. It's needful. But where we have been lacking is the emotional, and understanding there's some emotional issues that have been going on, some psychological issues that may be happening in this person's life that we've been kind of afraid to deal with because we haven't had knowledge and pretty much training or understanding on how to deal with that.
Yeah, and I think also too, what we've been seeing coming into our church is, that the industry, as far as helping mental ill patients, I think there's been maybe an overload. We could see it from our perspective because they go in and they're released right away, and they're at the church, and there's times we have to address behaviors and what have you. And I think we need more training in identifying, because a lot of times someone will come in with a ban, and we know they've been released from one of the medical facilities, behavioral facilities, but just approaching them, helping them, understanding them. I think we still need more of that. There was a doctor that came out during the COVID period. I think that's when we really started realizing we need the clinical side. We need counseling and from not just spiritual but emotionally. And so this doctor, Juanita Phillips, I believe her name is, she wrote a book called The Heart is a Garden, and it really helped us through a time of collectively at the church realizing our deficit and understanding. She dealt with it from how you would deal with it from a clinical perspective, and then spiritual. It is an excellent read if you get a chance to get the book.
Okay, that sounds good. So, tell me, how would you say the church has grown in the last couple of years or decades? Because back in the day, I don't even think that the church used to recognize mental health or mental illness within the church. They would think it's like more so a spiritual thing, or and believe me, guys,
Yes.
holy oil is great and it works, but it's more to it than that. It's more intertwined in that. So, what are your thoughts?
You're absolutely correct.
Growing up, being a minister for many years, I've seen many things. I've seen God heal people before me. I've seen demons manifest before us, literally in many ways. And then I've seen also what we would say was demons. It wasn't demonic. It was actually mental illness. And we kind of put everything on the demon, and it wasn't necessarily a demon. Now that church is now recognizing that fact. We start with education such as yours, your classes, and different ones that you've been inviting out. And I do appreciate, I just want to say, I do appreciate you inviting out the clergy and the clergies that have come out because they want to know and they want to do better. We want to do better at what we do and being who we are and helping people. And so we do appreciate you so much putting on your classes at Duville, It's just been a blessing to us, but that's where it's at, education. And I think that we're getting more education. So the more educated we get, the better we are and performing and doing the things that we do on a daily basis.
Right. So we were also talking about when people have mental health issues or per se, and they have substance abuse issues on top of that. But also, Sherman, you do marital counseling. So can you tell us about how that kind of intertwines with that?
Sure. In our community, and in the church community, we love to see marriages come together. As a marriage coach, me and my wife, there has been many times, that we've seen that tandem operate where the person, say, is coming out of really traumatic situations in their childhood that never was resolved until they fell in love. Once you fall in love as a man, they say, the Bible says it's something to behold, a man when he finds his maiden, So when we see this, we're listening and we're gauging, and I really see just an opportunity for some type of better assessing what is needed so that this marriage can come together. Because once you get married, there's outside pressures now of performance in a number of ways, and some of them are really tied into your mental health. I always say this, is that a mature or a healed person can sustain long-term relationships when they're emotionally healed.
Right.
That I feel like those are the people who succeed in marriage, because you have to be emotionally healed or whole or functional to be able now to come together with someone else.
Right. And also, by you, my office is in the community, your church is in the community, and we see a lot of people that's under the influence of substance abuse. And today's society, you've got so many folks that's so acceptable of marijuana. And don't get me wrong, sometimes medical marijuana is an option, okay? But when you say recreational, right, marijuana and things of that nature and the other substances that could alter your personality or alter your mental health, that becomes a problem, right?
Yes.
And we see a lot of that also intertwined with the mental health, intertwined within the church. So we just want people to kind of be aware, and if you are struggling, with a problem, or if you are struggling with an issue, it's help out there. You don't have to deal with it by yourself, It's supports out there. The church is a support, or call a counselor. We are here to help you, along your journey, pray with you, and get you into the direction that you need to be, get into when there's substance abuse issues, where it's mental health issues, whether it's medical issues. And Christians are now, we're everywhere. I'm a Christian. I'm a mental health counselor. It's medical doctors that's, physicians. If you want to have a Christian counselor, still make sure you take care of yourself. Mind, soul, and body.
Mind, soul, and body.
Right. So, what do you guys want to also touch upon when it comes to this?
I think that, you know, really within the African American community, I speak for that because that's where I grew up, and where I learned most of my stuff in the African American community. And so growing up, I knew that it was taboo to want to get help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, medical is one thing. Well, you ain't gonna go to the doctor. I ain't gonna go to the doctor.
Right.
Men don't want to go to the doctor. We ain't gonna get tested. We a man. All that, you know, ridiculousness. And many people have died because they haven't gotten the help. And it's the same with the mental. And I see it more even now with the mental. And there's so much mental instability out there, and it seems like it's getting worse, that you don't want to get some help. And it's just, we got to break that within our communities, within the church, within the community. Get help. If you need help, get help. If you feel indifferent, go find out about it. Don't just let it go.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to go. Forget all the shame. Forget all the stigma that people want to put on you. No, it's about you. Take care of you.
Yeah.
Get yourself some help. Seek out somebody. So if you don't find a Christian counselor, find somebody that can begin to talk to you.
Right.
Yes.
And so you can get some help, because it is treatable. Most of it is treatable.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
some
is.
maybe, but most of it is treatable.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't have to be long term. It could be short term. But get some help.
Yes.
Ask.
Yes. Get some help. So, again, I want to give the audience your contact information. So, the Bethesda Full Gospel is where Sherman and Andre is, and they are pillars in that church. And that phone number is area code 716-884-3607. And Bethesda is at 1365 Main Street, correct?
Absolutely.
Yep. So that's right in the heart of the community in the city of Buffalo, right on Main Street. So, and again, my information is Vondolyn Lane or Counselormsvee on Facebook, or you can shoot me an email at MHC, M as in Mary, H as in Harry, C as in Cat, M as in Mary, S as in Sam, V as in Victor, E as in Egg, E as in Egg at gmail.com. It's Mental Health Counselor Ms. V. That's what it stands for. So, yeah, and my private practice phone number is 716-320-1641. And Sherman and Andre attended, I collaborated with Duval College and created a mental health crisis workshop. And it was wonderful. It was received very well. And what I did is I had school personnel, I had community leaders such as themselves, and I had clergy also, and everybody was at the table. And it showed people how to deal with someone that's suffering or going through a mental health crisis. So you don't have to deal with this alone.
Yes.
You know, God is always with you, okay,
Yes,
all the time.
yes.
But also, He put people out here for your support, for you to reach your hand out, and somebody's there to help you through this. So you're not dealing with this by yourself. So we are here. It's other folks out here in the community that's here and that will help you. So again, this is Counselor Ms. V. You're tuned in to Ask the Counselor Show. And thank you guys so very much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting
Thank you
us.
for inviting.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here.
And we will
Great
see
time.
you next time.
All right, we made it through.